Big Dream Production presents Looking Forward with Natalie. Episode 5.
Hi, I'm Nataly, and this is my show where we discuss dreams, Christianity, important concepts, and everything that we believe is interesting and appropriate for the moment. Today is a very important day. We just celebrated Christmas, and I hope that we all share joyful and happy mood because Christmas is one of the most important celebrations in the Christian religion. Why, you might ask me? Because Christmas is about main Christian miracle. Miracle of birth of Son of God by Virgin Mary. If you believe in that miracle, that's it, you are Christian. You don't believe in that miracle, you're non-believer, or you belong to some other religion, that's the deal. But if you believe in this miracle, that opens the door to the whole entire philosophy of miracles. There is no Christianity without miracles. What is the definition of miracle, you will ask? In Christianity, miracle is something impossible that is happening because of the touch of God. The concept of miracle is really important. And right now, I'll explain to you how. I have a glass to show you. This is a glass of water filled with water, approximately 50%. And my question to you is whether this glass is half full or half empty. This is important question for Christianity, because if you are a Christian and you believe in miracle, then your glass would be half full. Why? Because that empty space can be filled by God, by miracle, one touch of God, one word, and glass is full, maybe with water, maybe with wine, we don't know, but miracles are happening. We believe in miracles. That's why we have hope, and our future is bright and promising. If you don't believe in miracle, that glass is half empty because there is no power that can fill it up except yourself. What if you don't have water? Then you don't have water. So the glass is half empty for those who don't believe in Christ. Now, I want to show you one picture. That picture was taken on December 18, before Christmas celebration, in one very regular plaza around that area where I live. Please look at it and tell me if you see any sign of Christmas over there. There is nothing. Not a Christmas tree, not a Christmas ornament, nothing. Not even Christmas lights. Beautiful, multicolored, amazing Christmas lights. I'm not even talking about the nativity scenes. There is nothing. Those people are not celebrating Christmas. So apparently, those people don't believe in miracles. And that means that miracles are not coming into their life. It's not because God doesn't want to give miracles to everyone. God, Jesus Christ, is so full of empathy to people that He is giving miracles to everyone. So throughout your life, God is giving chances to everyone, every single person, to find his way to God. And that's why miracles are happening in the life of those who celebrate Christmas and those who don't. However, it's not enough to have miracles coming to your life. You should be able to accept it and recognize it. And for that, you have to have your heart open to the possibility of miracles. I'll show you some more pictures. This is a regular street in the area where I live, and I live in the state of California. So there are some people, and a lot of them, that follow in Christian faith. And there are some people that don't. It's their choice. So they don't celebrate Christmas. They don't light up their houses. They don't put that beautiful multicolored Christmas light around. They live in the darkness. what that means to us. It's important. Some people might say, so what? We're a country of free choices, which is true, and they tolerate us, we tolerate them. That's how we live. So be it. Maybe. Or maybe not. Let's think what science is saying about it. And when I'm talking about science, I'm talking about quantum mechanics that predetermines the rules of the universe. Because I hope you agree with me that universe was created by God. God created everything and anything around us for our amusement, for our challenge, for us to be able to live our life and discover every day and every second something new around us, to be amazed by that, to be fascinated by that, to have that urge to live, to have a life purpose, to discover the beauty of this world. So, universe is part of God creation, and three people in 2022 received their Nobel Prize for some amazing experiments that telling us something new about the universe. Let's watch little video that I prepared for you.
Parallel universes, Nobel Prize, and multiverse. Some researchers base their ideas of parallel universes on quantum mechanics, the mathematical description of subatomic particles. In quantum mechanics, multiple states of existence for tiny particles are all possible at the same time. A wave function encapsulates all of those possibilities. A parallel universe, also known as a parallel dimension, alternate universe, or alternate reality, is a hypothetical self-contained plane of existence, coexisting with one's own. The sum of all potential parallel universes that constitute reality is often called a multiverse. The Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences awarded the 2022 Nobel Prize in Physics to Alan Aspect, John Clauser, and Anton Zeilinger for experiments in quantum science that proved the profoundly strange, quantum nature of reality. Their experiments collectively established the existence of a bizarre quantum phenomenon known as entanglement, where two widely separated particles appear to share information despite having no conceivable way of communicating.
So, we just watched some little explanation of the nature of the experiments conducted by those three amazing scientists that received Nobel Prize Award this year. What that means to us as Christians, that means that parallel universes exist according to the science. How it's important to us? Oh, it's because when we light our house with the Christmas light, we create our own dimension in which we live. This is a happy, Christian, multicolored, amazing dimension with miracles happening. This is our reality. We have impossible things turning into possible by the touch of God because of our faith, because we believe in it. And next to us, there are other people not lighting their houses, and they live in another dimension. So we kind of represent parallel reality coexisting in the same universe, in the same physical location. They live in the darkness of their unlighted houses. We live in the bright, wonderful, multicolored reality. Sometimes there are the majority. Sometimes we are surrounded by that. We are not threatened by that, but they are. They feel like their darkness is violated by us, by celebrating things that they don't understand and they don't have. From the point of view of psychology, there might be a lot of difficult feelings that they are experiencing. We understand that, and we cannot disregard it. Because if we disregard it, they will take over our dimension by sucking us into their black hole. So, how the darkness is trying to take us over? They try hard. They're building new technologies trying to get into our dreams. They're not there yet. It's still our area of freedom, but they're trying to take over our life when we are awake. What do you think is the meaning of the wokeness? Why they even call it so? Because this is the area where they believe they can take us over. They can take our brain, they can take our soul, and most importantly, our faith. Do you think wokeness is just an accidental name? The wokeness is a special philosophy that is designed to attack our life, that is designed to attack Christianity, that is specifically worded in a certain way to show us that our state of being awake is already taken. And the next step would be our dream life. When that would be taking over, we will have nothing left. By talking about it, I want to point your attention on something that is happening in your life on everyday basis. I want you to be visual. I want you to be critical. That's why I wanted to talk to you today about that miracle of Jesus Christ when he resurrected the son of the widow.
The raising of the son of the widow of Nain is an account of a miracle by Jesus, recorded in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 7. Soon afterward, Jesus went to a town called Nain, and his disciples, and a large crowd, went along with him. As he approached the town gate, a dead person was being carried out, the only son of his mother, and she was a widow. And a large crowd from the town was with her. When the Lord saw her, his heart went out to her, and he said, "Don't cry." Then he went up and touched the bier they were carrying him on, and the bearers stood still. He said, "Young man, I say to you, get up." The dead man sat up and began to talk, and Jesus gave him back to his mother. They were all filled with awe and praised God. "A great prophet has appeared among us," they said. "God has come to help his people." This news about Jesus spread throughout Judea and the surrounding country.
What we learn from that beautiful miracle? First, that God has empathy for every single person. Second, that he wants to hear of our problems. And when he knows about our problems, he will move earth and heaven to help us. And I start from empathy. You know why? Because empathy is under the threat as well. You didn't notice that? You would say probably, oh, the empathy is still okay in our society. Maybe. Or maybe not. Because maybe when you've been sleeping, empathy was substituted by equity. I'm not going any further with that statement. I want you to think about it and figure out for yourself if you agree with me or not. But talking about empathy, it's also huge and important part of Christian position, Christian point of view. Why? Look at what happened in that miracle. Jesus was walking, going to the city of Nain, and there was some procession. Many people saw it just as a funeral. He saw it differently. He saw widow, first of all. And for you to understand what was happening to her, she already lost her husband. Now she lost her son. So what will happen next? Widow in our society can live a normal life. At that time, it was not so. She couldn't inherit the land. So whatever she had, she is losing automatically with the death of the last man in her family. So now she will depend on the mercy of strangers and relatives if she has one. She will be basically living on the street and being a beggar. And that's what Jesus saw. He understood the level of her despair. That was basically the end of her life. But he had another plans for her. He said, "Don't cry." And he gave her back her son, giving her not only body of that boy that she loved so much, but also the whole entire life, her rights, her comfort, her dignity, everything. That's what he did, because he had empathy for her. Now you understand how empathy is big and how empathy is important. So when we feel for someone something, we have to act on it. We have to understand what Jesus just did and that miracle, and we have to repeat it as much as we can, because miracles are coming to us, to our life, in many, many different ways. To demonstrate that, I'll show you one little example.
Real life miracle. My son was 5 years old. He was very sick, his temperature was high, bronchitis, stomach problems. And I didn't feel very well either. In general, we did not leave the house for several days. We lived alone, and there was no one to help much, so there was no way to go to the store, there was no one to leave my son with. We were running out of food in the house, but it was not critical yet, we could last a couple of days. My son almost didn't get out of bed, only to go to the toilet. He was drinking a lot of water, he was eating a little and constantly running to the toilet. And, eventually, oh the horror! The entire strategic supply of toilet paper has run out, at home. Exhausted both mentally and physically, I scream, "Lord, I just need rolls, well, at least a roll to survive until tomorrow." I exhaled and I went to the window. I was standing over there, just staring outside, and praying. Our apartment was on the first floor. In front of the window, there was a bench. During the summer, some little old women, or couples, could sit, but rarely. And here I am, standing by the window, staring at the bench, and suddenly realizing that there is a pack of toilet paper on the bench. Huge? Oh my God, I thought that someone had forgotten it. I said, "Lord, if this is for us, then let it wait until the evening." At 12 o'clock at night I brought the pack of toilet paper home. Then I laughed. Apparently, this was the moment of my life, when God had heard my prayer, and all I had asked for was a roll of toilet paper. I accept this miracle, it was a lifesaver.
What you saw right now was a wonderful story of some miracle happened in real life. I don't know who left that toilet paper on a bench, but I'm sure it was someone who was acting by the will of God. That's how miracles are coming to our life. When we do something, when we follow our heart, and when we act on our empathy. So if you still experience empathy, you will be helping people around you. If you don't, if someone will explain to you that feeling empathy to certain people would be politically incorrect, then you will not be acting on your empathy. And why empathy might be politically incorrect? Well, because you feel empathy for the wrong person. It's not appropriate according to our wokeness theories. They are telling you what you should feel and how you should act. And it's not what we Christians do. That's why miracle performed by Jesus is so important to me. And I hope that it's important to you, because Jesus giving us an example how to live this life. Follow your heart and act on your empathy. Maybe sometime Jesus just wants to see how good Christian you are. I'll give you one example from my life. One day, and it was a few years ago, during the December, we've been walking with my then boyfriend, husband-to-be, by the ocean in Long Beach. It was very sunny and very cold day, so we've been walking pretty fast. And suddenly we saw some homeless man sleeping on a bench. He didn't have anything to put under himself. Not a blanket, not a sleeping bag. He was in regular clothes and without shoes. And it was so painful to watch him sleeping on that bench, because it was clear if nothing is done, he will be freezing to death. And I saw it, and I didn't know what can I do, but I wanted to do something immediately. And I look at my boyfriend, and he looked at me, and I saw pain in his eyes. And he told me, "You saw it?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "What can we do?" And I said, "We have something with us. We can give it to him." In the trunk of my car, I had my fur coat, and Todd had his tennis shoes. That's all we had at the time. We didn't have any blanket. We didn't have anything else to give this man. And we decided to give it to him. So we ran to our car. I took my coat, and Todd took his shoes, and we come back to the man. He was still sleeping. We woke him up, and I covered his shoulders and his back with my coat. And Todd put his shoes on his bare feet. And the man, he couldn't say a word. He was silently crying, and we saw tears going from his eyes by his cheeks. We didn't have cash money with us except $10, and Todd gave it to him and said, "Please go and buy some food." So we did what we could, and we left. We hope that we changed something in that man's life. And we were trying to come back several times in that area and see if he's still there, and maybe we still can do something for him. We never saw him again. I hope what we did was helpful. But then again, maybe it wasn't a homeless man. Maybe it was God Himself testing us, because at that moment we didn't know each other very well. We just started dating. And when we saw us acting on our heart, acting on our empathy, we saw each other from different point of view. We knew that we can trust each other, and we knew that we can rely on each other. And that would be the lessons of real life miracles. That's exactly what the people of darkness want to take away from us. If you have your own ideas about it, please share it with me, like I'm sharing with you my experiences. And by the way, I have one more. You remember that I started our discussion today from describing multicolored Christmas decorations that many of us have on our houses. I believe that this festive Christmas mood and multicolored decorations are important, because that's how we know that God is in our life. And I think that my personal story might be interesting to you. I didn't find my way to God easily. I was born in the Soviet Union, the country of agnostics, people not believing in God. In my school, they've been telling us that religion is an opium for the mass. This is a famous citation from Karl Marx, who was born as Jewish, but later on turned into Satanism. But that might be a topic of separate discussion. Anyway, he believed that religion is an opium and it's basically brainwashing for people. At my home, I was never exposed to any religion, even though my grandfather was a Jewish, but he was on very, very high position in Soviet Ministry of Justice. And he used to tell me, please, don't approach any church, temple, synagogue closer than 200 meters. If you do so, I might pay a high price for that. I will lose my job and maybe even my life. So you can imagine that being a little girl, I was afraid of church. If I see some church on the street, I will make sure to get away from the street, because I didn't want to risk my grandfather's life. And now I'm sitting in front of you and telling you about God that I love, that I trust, that I believe in, and I have a cross on my chest. So how that happened? Actually, my son guided me to the God. I'm so grateful for that. When my son was born, my then husband baptized him when my son was less than a year. Then he told me about it, and he said that the priest said that mother should accept the same religion, Christianity, or she's risking to lose her spiritual connection with her son. That was a harsh statement for me. I love my son, and I know it doesn't make me special. All mothers love their sons, and there is no limit what I can do to save him and help him. So I started thinking about Christianity. And it was a difficult journey, but one day I felt like I'm ready. I was 33 at that time, and we've been spending weekend outside of Moscow with my family and friends, and we've been driving home. And someone asked me if I want to be baptized, and I said yes. I think I'm ready. And at that moment, we saw some beautiful church in front of us. I will not be able to find that church right now. I have no idea where it is. But it was right there when I needed. And it was 18th century church with beautiful mosaic glass windows. We asked the priest if he would be willing to do the ceremony for me, and he said yes. And he did. And that was probably one of the most mystical moments of my life. And I love the memory of it. But most importantly, when everything was done and I got my cross on my chest, I turned around and I saw my son running to me as fast as he could. And he was about 5 years old. And he was jumping on me, holding me, placing his arms around me. And at that moment, I knew that my spiritual connection with my son will never be broken. What is important, the whole church was filled with amazing, beautiful, multicolored light because the sun was going down and the evening beams of the sun were coming through that beautiful mosaic windows. I remember that light surrounding me, and every time I see Christmas lights, that's what I remember. To me, that light is a sign of Jesus being with me, being present, and giving me his love. I would like to stop right now. I want you to know one simple thing. Everything related to our Christianity, everything related to our faith is extremely important. And it is under attack every day of our life. We have to fight for our faith. We have to protect it, and we have to stand by it. And that's it for today. I'll see you next week.